Hello, fellow UVA alumni. I'm Tom McKnight, class of 1976, and I am now the interim director of golf here at Farmington Country Club in Charlottesville. So Robin Stafford had called me and asked me to see if I could come up with some golf tips or drills that we thought maybe some of you guys could actually improve your game and maybe actually get a sponsor exemption into the Masters this week. So I don't know if it's too late for that, but we will work on it. So I have several drills and tips that I think that would help your game. We'll see how that goes, but we're going to start with putting and go from there. All right, we're going to start first with a putting drill. To me, putting is about three different things. One is beginning the putt on the line that you want it to. And two is getting the speed correct to match up with that line so you can get the ball close to the hole. And the third thing is be able to read the greens, and that's determining exactly where you want to start the putt. Reading the slopes of the greens and all the undulations and figure that out. But right now, this drill is going to be about trying to get the ball started on your intended line. So many people have a hard time aiming the club face, and they think they're aimed at the hole, but they're not. So I've got a little wicket that I've put here right in front of the ball that I know it's easy to aim to that wicket. It's easier to aim here than the hole because it's so close. So I want to make sure that I can aim in that wicket, figuring if I can get it through the wicket, then I can get it to go all the way to the hole. I'm really concentrating about getting my eyes acclimated to the hole, acclimated to the ball and the wicket, and to make all those combined to where I can be aimed at the hole when I think I am. So many people don't. But once you get to this distance, which is probably 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet, even the PGA Tour pros, their average is only about 50% from 8 feet. And once you get beyond 8 feet, it goes down drastically. So this is when it's more important to be perfectly aimed at the hole or close to it, so you're not making compensations during the putt. But I think this drill will really help you. Just get set up with the wicket in front of you. Get lined up, just like that. Hi, we've already done a drill for direction. This drill will be for speed. To me, speed is really the most important thing when putting. Is trying to get the ball end up near the hole if you don't make it. Obviously, we'd love to make it, but if we don't, we won't have something that we can tap in or be close to the hole for the next shot. So I think this is a great drill to work on your speed. What I have done is made a box, which I call a speed box. So we're working on the speed. We have the ball, and I've put a tee in the ground to kind of mark the spot that we're going to start from. The idea is we're going to get it to go across the line, and each putt that we hit is playing leapfrog. It's like, what can I do to hit this one just a little harder than that one? And I just keep going and see how many balls I can get in that box. And as soon as one does not get past the previous one, you bring them all back and start over. And once you get good at that, then you take your tee and move it back and do the same thing further back. And as we progress and get better at it, we're going to go on the opposite side. Instead of being uphill, which this is an uphill putt, on the opposite side we come down, it's downhill, and the speed, you'll realize how much faster it is and how much harder it is than doing it from below the hill. And talking about speed, it makes me think of Augusta, of a putt I had there, which was, unbelievable to me. I had not played so great the first day, and I finished up great at the end of the first round and got myself back in shape for the tournament. And got off to a pretty good start in the second round, and by the time I got to 16, I was in good shape to make the cut as an amateur, and that was thrilling for me to be in that spot. But I'd hit a really good shot on the par 3 16. It was probably no more than 6 feet from the hole, right straight behind, thinking it was like perfectly straight putt, I'm thinking, and not much slope. But when I hit the putt, I hit it, just barely touched it, and it's just barely rolling. And when it got to the hole, I'm thinking, well, I've made it, and I made it, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Well, it just went right over the right edge and didn't break, and it just kept trickling and trickling. It's just like it was on ice. And it caught the slope, and it went about 40 or 50 feet to the front of the green. I said, oh my, and now I've got this one coming back for par. Made a good 2-putt to make bogey. Got out of there with a couple pars on the next hole and still made the cut. But it just made me realize that, you really do have to pay attention to speed. But Augusta week, you really do. The next shots I want to talk about are what I call finesse shots around the green. Most people say they have chip shots, or is this a chip, or is this a pitch? And to me, it's all about a matter of hitting it higher or hitting it lower. And there's several different options of hitting it lower. And I'm going to talk about that for just a second. And then I'm going to show you an example of what I do in a drill that I think would make you better at hitting the type shots. All right, there are 4 choices I think you can make to change your trajectory of the ball. One would be club choice, and I could choose to hit a sand wedge, which would make it higher than, say, an 8-iron. So your choice of whether to hit a high or low would be a club choice. The other would be, it's the way I hold the club. Maybe you actually take your club you have and open the face, and that adds more loft. You're going to hit it higher, or you can close it to make it go lower. The next way would be ball position, which I'm talking about where the ball is in relation to your feet in your stance. If I have it in the middle of my stance, it'd be kind of normal. If I play it further back, I have de-lofted the club to make it hit lower. I can move it forward in my stance. That would actually make it go higher. The next choice would be hand position. I could say I'm playing the ball in the middle of my stance, but I can put my hand slightly forward. That just de-lofted the club as well to make it go lower. Keep my hands a little more neutral, which will keep the full loft of the club to make it go higher. So those are kind of your choices of, everybody has a different preference for those. And some people like to use club choices different. Some people like to use the same club for a lot of different directions. But I'll give you a drill right here that I think is great. You can see I put 2 different markers in between here and the hole. This is a sand wedge I have in my hand. I will actually go to the first marker, and I'm going to try to hit a lower shot with a sand wedge. And how I would do that would be my ball position and hand position. So I'll play it slightly back of center with my hands slightly forward. I hit it low and the ball rolls. The next shot I'm going to hit is playing it more neutral. That'd be in the middle of my stance with my hands, the shaft being straight up and down, very neutral. So now I've got the full loft to the sand wedge. I might even open the face just a little bit by rotating it to the right to hit a little higher shot to try to land at the second marker. So it hits much softer. And so you have 2 choices with the same club just based on ball position and hand position. Now we're going to try some bunker shots. This is a place that you probably would prefer not to be in, but you get there all too often. But I'm telling you, the best way not to be in a bunker is to get really good with your bunker shots. The better you get, the fewer bunkers you'll end up hitting into. But I'm going to tell you, what I like to do is in the setup is have a wider stance, kind of sitting down with a little bit more weight on your left leg, your lead leg. Not a lot, but maybe just feel like that there's a little more in it than the right. Most people, I've drawn a line here, and I'm going to pretend that the ball is just in front of that line. Most people, when they hit sand shots, they tend to hit too far behind it, and they say, oh, I'm just hitting too steep. Those same people will actually start coming up, and they'll hit the ball in the middle of the ball with the leading edge of the club face, and it goes flying over the green, and they think, well, I hit too close to the ball. It's not really that you hit too close to the ball, but you usually hit too far behind it, and then the club starts to come back up. The club's up and down, and if you hit too far behind it, it comes back up. So I have a drill that I've got a line that I've drawn over here behind these balls, and I'm going to try to hit the club into that line, which is about maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches behind the ball. Everybody's just a little different, but that's kind of in the neighborhood where it should be. But I do not hit behind that line. So when you get in a bunker, you can put some balls in a row, put the line about 1.5 inches to 2 inches behind it, and try to hit into that ball, into the line, and it's going to take out a little strip of sand. It's just like an explosion on the ball. So you can see how I've drawn this line behind these 4 balls. So I'm just going to try to get the club to enter the sand right in the line, and I'm looking to take out almost the shape of a dollar bill sand. It's just kind of an explosion. I'm not worried about hitting the ball. I'm worried about the explosion making the ball come out. That shot right there, that's hitting too shallow and thin. Actually, I hit a little bit too far behind and it came through. That reminds me of a shot I actually hit in the U.S. Amateur one year. It was not a good feeling. I was actually at the hot springs at the homestead, and the Upper Cascades. I'll never forget, I was medalist in the qualifying. In my first match, I was 3 or 4 up going into 9 and hit it in the greenside bunker. The fellow I was playing, who was a good player, was having a tough day so far, and he'd left it way short of the green, about 100 yards, and was not even on the green. Before it was over with, I'd hit a shot like that that went way over the green, end up putting it in my pocket, and end up losing that match 1 down. It was like it was all because of a bunker shot. So work on your bunker shots, put the line behind, make it much easier, and you won't hit it in as many. Now we're going to talk about some driving. I have so many people ask, how can I hit the ball farther? How can I get more club head speed? And in the way things are right now with the Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson hitting the ball so far, it's like, we want to hit the ball further. And I found that it's very hard to add club head speed. You can do a little by getting the proper club would help, being in shape, being flexible, all that will help. And as you get older, all that helps to kind of maintain what you had, and you don't tend to add a whole lot of more club head speed. But what I will say is that it becomes more about ball speed than club head speed. You hear them talking about all the young kids have this ball speed. Well, what's the difference in ball speed and club head speed? Club head speed produces the ball speed, but only as efficient as you hit it solid. So what I'd like to talk about today is just one simple thing you can do to help you hit the ball in the center of the club face, being much more solid. And sometimes that comes, you can actually do it on full swings, but I like to actually do half swings to really kind of to show you what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to do is, I've got some Dr. Scholl's foot spray powder. I made the mistake of telling somebody one day what to get, and I said get foot spray, and they got spray but didn't get the powder. You've got to get powder because we're going to spray it on the club head. You can see how it kind of turns white. I want to hit a couple shots and show you what happens. So you can see, I don't know, can you see right there? We can see right in a ball mark, right in a little toward the heel, not quite in the center. It wasn't a terrible shot, but it wasn't solid completely. It looked okay in the air, but I promise you it didn't go as far as it would have been if it had been in the center. So what do? I keep hitting some more shots and trying to create that ball mark right in the center of the club face. If you can see, if I keep hitting it toward the heel, maybe I'm backing up and get a little further away. Opposite if it maybe goes off the toe. But you'll find a way, without being very technical, of how I can get those ball marks more in the center. Like I say, I think a great way to do it is to take half shots. Back to here, to here. We're just going to hit the ball solid in the club face. We get one more shot here with a half swing. So I felt that one go out of the heel before I even look at it. And you can see right there is way in the heel. So if I want to be more efficient, I'm going to move it over. I'm going to keep doing that until I get it solid. Then take my full swing until I get it solid. It's a great way to have instant feedback on where you are in the club face. Some people can't tell, some people can, but this will help you get it back in the center. It'll make your ball go further. Your ball speed will be better with the same club head speed. I want to thank you for being here today and listening to a little bit of this. I hope you found something that will help your golf game. And I look forward to answering some of your questions with Robin here in a few minutes. And good luck, and I hope one of you gets a call for maybe an extra spot they have in the Masters this week. Thanks.